China, the Chinese chicken. You have a drumstick and your brain stops sticking.
Hey everyone, this is China Chicken, and I wanted to do a box score breakdown of the Buffalo Bills versus Atlanta Falcons game, Monday Night Football. Atlanta Falcons scored 24 points, and they beat the Bills 24-14. Atlanta jumps up to 3-2 and 2-1 at home, and the Bills fall to 4-2, 1-1 away. That's 2 games in a row that the Bills lost. Atlanta won coming off a bye, so good for them. And yeah, let's get into the box score. So we'll start with Buffalo's passing. Josh Allen went 15 for 26, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions with 4 sacks. So this isn't one of Josh Allen's best games, but it really wasn't his fault too much. His receivers really couldn't get open. One of the interceptions was definitely his fault. The other one was tipped at the end of the game where they were down 10 points and he was trying to make something happen. But to score 14 points is inexcusable for the Buffalo Bills with MVP Josh Allen. So, yeah, 15 for 26, not very good. But he did have 2 touchdowns, 4 sacks. Again, not very good. But Atlanta's one of the top blitzing defenses in the league. So you expect to have some sacks there. Michael Penix played an okay game. He went 20 for 32, 250 yards, 1 touchdown, and he took 2 sacks. But he didn't throw any interceptions. They didn't have any turnovers at all at Atlanta, as far as I know. So we'll go down to Buffalo's rushing. James Cook, 17 carries for 87 yards. I kind of wish they leaned on James Cook a little bit more in the beginning of the game. His long was only 14. He usually breaks a couple longer runs than that. I was surprised, but not a bad game for him. Josh, 6 carries for 42 yards. He had a 24-yard run, so pretty good. They didn't run it at all with Ray Davis. Ty Johnson had 1 carry for 5 yards. Bijan Robinson, probably the player of the game, either him or Drake London, the receiver. He had 19 carries for 170 yards and 1 touchdown, and the one run that really killed the Bills was an 81-yard touchdown run for him. And then the backup, Tyler Algier, had 10 for 32, not very good, but he did have a touchdown on a 21-yard run. So other than that 21-yard run, he only had 11 yards on 9 carries, so that's not very good. Michael Penix ran it 2 times for 6 yards. He's not much of a runner, though, and I have no idea who Felipe Franks is, but he must be their 3rd running back or something. Down to receiving, Josh Palmer led the way with 2 catches for 60 yards on 2 targets. That surprises me because he only had 2 targets and he was out in the second quarter of this game. He got hurt, an ankle injury, I believe. So he had that on the first play of the game for the Bills. He had 45-yard catch. Other than that, not too much. Khalil Shakir, 3 for 33. Wish he could have done a little better on 5 targets. Tyrell Shavers had 3 catches for 27 yards. He doesn't play much, but he had to play this game after Palmer went out, and that was on 5 targets. Dawson Knox, 1 catch for 19 yards and a touchdown. That was on the first drive for the Bills. Ray Davis, 2 catches for 19 yards and a touchdown. That was on the first drive of the second half there on 2 targets. Ty Johnson, 1 for 11, and then Keon Coleman had a terrible game. 3 catches for only 11 yards on 6 targets. Ugh. And then Elijah Moore, also terrible game. 0 for 2, and he fumbled on a end-around play that did not work at all. So Atlanta's receiving, they had Drake London. Again, he was one of the players of the game. He had 10 catches for 158 yards and a touchdown. He probably should have had 2 touchdowns. That one at the end of the first half they took away because he stepped out of bounds, and then there was 0 time on the clock. And he had 16 targets. Wow. Bijan Robinson, running back, had 6 catches for 68 yards. He's a really good receiving threat on 8 targets. Kyle Pitts didn't do much, 3 for 18, and then not much after that. So we'll go down to fumbles here. Josh Allen fumbled twice, I guess, but they didn't lose any of those. Elijah Moore recovered one of them. Atlanta Falcons didn't fumble at all. They did have a fumble the first play of the game, but it got taken away from an offsides from the Bills, unfortunately. Shaq Thompson on defense led the way with 10 tackles and 1 tackle for loss. Taylor Rapp, 7 tackles. Dorian Williams, 6 tackles. Cole Bishop, 6 tackles. But Deion Walker, the rookie defensive tackle, 4 tackles for loss. Look at that. He had a great game. And then Ed Oliver, opposite him, had a sack and 2 tackles for loss. So the 2 defensive tackles played really good in this game. Terrell Bernard didn't have a very good game, but he also got injured. So let's see who else got a sack. Javon Solomon had a sack early in the game. Backup defensive end. Greg Rousseau. I know he had a kick. He had blocked that field goal, I believe. And then Bosa didn't even make... Oh, yeah, no. Bosa had 5 tackles. Here he is. Okay. And then Atlanta's defense. Let's see if anything jumps out here. I don't know other teams' defenses that well. Mike Hughes, 6 tackles. D. Ford, 6 tackles. A tackle for loss. Anyemenata, 1 tackle for loss. A couple sacks here. Alford had 1. Eminyata. Roberts had a sack. And then Horror had a sack as well. Yeah, so not too much by Atlanta, but, they had the 4 sacks there. Bills didn't have any interceptions. Yeah, no turnovers at all for Atlanta. That's really what won them the game, was not turning the ball over. And then Josh Allen, like I mentioned, threw 2 interceptions. Malone and Alford had those 2. I'm not going to talk about kick returns or punt returns too much. Kicking, Matt Prater didn't kick any field goals, but was 2 for 2. And then Parker Romo had 1 field goal blocked, and then 3 for 3 extra points, and 1 for 2 field goals. And then let's talk about the team stats here as well. I always like looking at this. This usually tells the story of the game. Atlanta won first downs. They had 22. Let's see here. Third down efficiency, Bills were only 2 for 9. That's horrible. Atlanta Falcons were 5 for 12, so pretty decent there. They were both 0 for 1 on 4th down. Total plays, Falcons had 66 to Bills 54. Total yards, Atlanta crushed them 443. Let's see here. Yeah, we already talked about passing and rushing stuff. Red zone, Bills were 2 for 3. I'm surprised there. They didn't make it to the red zone very much, though. And then Atlanta was only 1 for 3. So they had a couple long touchdowns up. Obviously, the 81-yarder. Yeah, so penalties. Again, Bills just shoot themselves in the foot. 8 penalties for 64 yards. Falcons, 6 for 35. And then, yeah, turnovers. Bills had 2. Falcons had 0. So that's a lot of it right there. And they're both interceptions. Time of possession, kind of even. Atlanta had 3 more minutes of time of possession. So, yeah, that's the game. That's the box score. That's the team stats. Pretty disappointed in the Bills' performance. To only have 14 points is atrocious for the Bills to have only 14 points with MVP quarterback. So let me know down below what you think of the box score breakdown here. Let me know what you think of the Buffalo Bills. Let me know what you think of the Atlanta Falcons. Leave a like and subscribe on my channel. That would be very helpful. Let's have a conversation down below in the comments about how bad the Bills are right now. They're going into a bye week, so hopefully they can get some things worked out, have some players come back from injuries, which would be nice. And have a great day, everyone. Go Bills.
Chickadee China, the Chinese chicken. You have a drumstick and your brain stops sticking.